Welcome, lords and ladies, kings and queens, my noble court, to the Cosmic Archive, a living legendarium of a million worlds. I am Lord Master Leonis, your humble scribe and archivist and curator of this fine establishment. Today, I'm going to be reacting to presently the last one of the Penguin CJP AI music video things. I actually talked with Penguin last night, and he told me this one's not going to be like the other ones. It's basically just a looping animation over the song that Phoenix wrote. This one, by the way, is on Fun with Phoenix channel. It is not on Penguin CJP's channel. It's Fun with Phoenix 727. He wrote the song, and Penguin created the video to go with it. I have had to take a break because the last video in this recording session was the new Louisverse video, which choked me up a lot. It was a very sad video. If anyone ever tells you that AI is soulless and emotionless, I implore you to point them to Lady Wasabi's videos on Louisverse, and I immediately proved them completely wrong. Anyway, so from what I understand, this one was a little bit more off the cuff. This one wasn't like a long planned project like Mavericks Detected or Making Dreams Together was. Instead, this was a very short term, like Phoenix was just, he saw all the hate and he was just like, you know what, I'm just going to make this, I'm just going to write these lyrics and we're going to make this song. And then I think Penguin said he asked Phoenix if Phoenix wanted any visuals to go with it, and Phoenix said yes. As you can see in this initial shot here, we have Grumpy Whiskers and Play Astronomical. Well, there were a lot of people showing a lot of hate for the AI content creation of Mavericks Detected. Play Astronomical and Grumpy Whiskers were there as voices to encourage, tell them that they did a good job, and help them if they wanted some help in learning how to better do this process. To be fair, Penguin himself was very helpful for me. He showed me some videos to go watch, and I learned about making storyboards and how to have a proper workflow for a video. Hopefully that will be on my channel soon. I'm going to try to make some shorts using some of that information. However, for now, we're going to do a minimal react and a maximal react. From what I understand, this is about 3 minutes and 15 seconds-ish long, much shorter than the Louisverse video, and there won't be as much to react to visually, so we'll probably want to pay attention to the lyrics. He has the lyrics written down here, so fortunately we'll be able to see the lyrics if there's any point where we're not sure about them or we think the CC got it wrong. CC gets it wrong all the time. So without any further ado, let's get into it. You are on YouTube. You will not be receiving the minimal react because, well, YouTube's decided they don't like minimal reacts. So we'll be cutting that out of the YouTube version. I always post these on X when I make my X post for it. If you want to go to my X page or my X profile page, you can find my videos there. There's a few where X didn't let me upload them, so that is what it is. I also always upload the full video on Rumble. Again, both of those versions will have the minimal react in them. If you're interested in seeing the minimal react, you do have a couple of options to do that. It's usually a 3 to 7 minute section of the video that gets cut out because I don't pause the video. So long story short, if you want to see my unpaused react, my initial react to these, that you have two options available for that, and perhaps in the future I'll have more, but for the moment it's just those two. So let's get into it and listen to the song, shall we? That's pretty great. Actually, I like that a lot. So yeah, basically, if I were to make any critique, I'm pretty sure the CC got most of this correct. If I would give one bit of critique in the message, let them have as many comments as they want. Comments actually boost your visibility on YouTube, regardless of if they're negative or positive. So who cares if they leave the comments? As far as I'm concerned, if they leave a comment, I'm like, thank you for the engagement. Thank you for pushing me into eyeballs that I would not have otherwise been pushed into. That's my take personally. If someone wants to make a hate comment, I'm just like, thank you for your comment. Like that's all it will ever be. Comments are probably the thing that pushes video engagement more than anything else. And so unless someone is saying something truly egregiously heinous, I will usually leave a comment alone, even if it's very negative, because you're just giving me more interaction. So this was made entirely with Suno, right? For the music? Yeah, song made with Suno. Lyrics made by me. I'm curious, Phoenix, if you sung that, because that voice sounded very, if that's Suno, that's impressive. I didn't know Suno could do a voice that realistic. It kind of sounded like it had some strains in the throat and stuff. So I'm kind of curious if you actually sang it or if Suno sang it. Obviously the music, the song itself, the music was made with Suno. I just don't know if the singing was Suno, but that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just a repeating clip, and most of what we're going to talk about is going to be the lyrics. So this was, like I said earlier, Penguin CJP he's told me. This is pretty much just spur of the cuff. I'm covering this because I think it's important as part of the sort of story of how this world and universe that we're seeing on Penguin CJP's channel with Penguin and Phoenix and the Hunters is there's sort of a saga within that story, but there's also a saga outside of it. And so I wanted to make sure to sort of like look at this song and cover it and be able to see like what's going on in the more real life side of things too, because the things that people go through in their actual lives also affect their creations as creators, and sometimes it can give you perspective on things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. I can't say for sure that this did that for me, but maybe somebody else will see this and be able to see where some of the creativity changed. I do know that this song takes place between Mavericks Detected and Making Dreams Together, and in Mavericks Detected, the sentiment was more left versus right political, and the sentiment in Making Dreams Together was more pro-AI versus anti-AI. And I would be willing to wager that the events that led to the making of this song had a hand as well in that shift in sentiment between the two videos. So I am still interested to see where that world will go. Let's go through this again and do a maximal react. I think this one will probably be a quicker video, but I don't think that's a bad thing. We will have an opportunity, since this is a loop, I'll probably pretty liberally come down here and look at some of these. Most of this, though, got hit by the CCs pretty accurately. I don't think most of the lyrics were wrong. There's maybe once or twice where a word was like misspelled or something. But yeah, let's try this again.
So what if my music is AI? So what if no one takes my side? I don't care what you think, and I never will.
See, this is really important to me, this first bit here. So what if, to me, what if my music is AI is not as important, but what if no one takes my side and I don't care what you think? That's really important to me, because like when I initially joined this community, I was a lot more active on X, I said a lot more things to more people, etc. And I've been pretty quiet more lately. And the fact is, I've just come to the realization that I'm spending a lot of time spinning my wheels, chit-chatting and talking and doing things that aren't making something. And I should really be concentrating on more of my time on making the things I want to make. And at the end of the day, it's not really about who wants to view my stuff. Like, even if this doesn't work out for me and I don't get to become a creator that makes money off of what I do, I'm still going to make what I want to make just because it's something I love doing. I want to create lore videos and stories and maybe music videos, but I'm much more concentrated on prose. And I think that that's sort of like the main crux of it is I'm going to make what I'm going to make, and no amount of telling me that you think my stuff is terrible because of the tool I use is going to affect that. I'm still just going to make what I want to make. My brother, who I live with and who I record videos with even, absolutely hates AI. But at the end of the day, even his opinion on it is not enough to shake me from doing what I want to do. And he's kind of accepted that at this point and just moved on. But not everyone does that.
I love the hate, but I'm done with people talking without knowing what they're saying.
See, this one, what does it
Leaving
say?
hateful comments without delaying when they didn't even watch it through all the way.
Right. So he says, I think here with the full context of that, his people saying things without knowing what they're talking about, basically. Talking without knowing what they're saying. That's what he says. So to me, when I heard that initially, my thought was like, there's a lot of people who have this attitude or belief set that because all an AI requires is for you to give it a descriptive prompt, that is not in and of itself a skill or anything creative. And this is, to me, this is the thing that irks me the most about the anti-AI argument is, and I said this in my Kitsunero video where I was talking about the points Kitsunero makes in her anti-AI argument. The tools we used throughout all of human history, including brushes of charcoal and graphite and, whatever else, they have never been the creative part of art. A pencil is not creative, and it never will be be creative. Someone has to pick it up and use it to create something. And in that regard, AI is not any different. I'm not an uncreative person just because I used a tool you don't like. But that being said, with the context of the full statement here, where they leave hate without delaying when they didn't even watch it all the way through, I think in part he's also saying that they will give criticism about what was used to make this video without actually taking the time to watch the entire video and then attempt to actually put real criticism into the video. So I know that most of the time I'm very positive about stuff, but even if you watch the other video I made in this recording session, which is the Lady Wasabi video, there's actually a clip where one of her characters is like jogging through a hallway, and we briefly see, I paused at a moment where that character has 3 arms because the AI didn't do something right, and I did critique that it was an incorrect image. Now, to be fair, that's the AI's fault, not really the creator's fault, because we're still trying to, work out the bugs with this new tool. My brother always makes the argument that because AI goes out into the internet and basically trawls everyone else's art, and this is true, by the way, so if someone makes this argument, don't knock them. They are telling you the truth, where AI goes out and it trawls the art of a bajillion artists all over the internet and then creates an amalgam based on what it finds. I mean, that's a very, very simplified version of what it's doing. There's a little bit more detail and nuance into it than that. There's a lot of more detail and nuance into it than that. But the idea is that the AI didn't make anything itself so much as it based the image it gave you off of other people. Now, the pro-AI argument to that is that's not really anything different than me consuming a bunch of art content and then in inspiration from what I've seen, drawing something that clearly has, like the drawing I made clearly, harkens to other art. And when another person does it, most of the time we call that some version of flattery or some version of, it's like I'm giving an homage, I might draw something in a similar style. Like, let's say I really like Danny Phantom, and so I draw my own character in a Danny Phantom style. I didn't steal Dan Harmon's art style. I just paid homage to Dan Harmon because he's one of my favorite artists. And I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think the AI art, what I'll give them is there's not the same kind of emotional attachment to it because it's a machine. So the machine is not looking at that work and thinking, oh, I want to give an homage to this. The machine is just taking what it has access to and utilizing it. And therein, perhaps, is one of the only arguments I can see has any degree of worth. Everything else, it's like, if they say we should get rid of AI, I'm sorry, we can't. Pandora's box is open, it doesn't close again. That is what it is. Oh, well, okay, then we should heavily limit it. No, that's dangerous. If you leave AI to be only wielded by those with power, then those of us in the general public have no way and no recourse to fight that power. And so, basically that's what it comes down to is, most of these arguments, it's like you're not thinking past your immediate desire about what might happen after that. As Leaflet often says, second and third order events. Like, even if I were to grant you that AI is dangerous and therefore something should be done about it, which I'm willing to grant some level of, at the end of the day, you can't just take it out of the hands of the common person. And the reason why you can't do that is because if you leave it in the hands of only the elite, it will not be used to make cute little animation loops like this. It will be used to track everything you do and trap you in a digital prison for the rest of your life that you will never leave. That's the problem. You can't take the power away from the people and give it only to the elites because it will always end that way. It doesn't matter what kind of power it is. But I have yapped a little too long for this. My point is saying a lot of people will say their piece about stuff like this and they are not aware of what they're talking about. They don't understand the implications of what they're saying, and most of them never will because they don't care to. That in their mind, there is no reason to give a fuck beyond the thing they want right now.
So please shut it and enjoy. So what if we ain't professional? So what if we used a readily available tool?
So what if we're not professional? I was never professional at this shit. I've never been professionally artistic at any level. I can draw. I don't draw very well. I mean, I can draw enough that you would be able to be like, yeah, I could tell what he drew. Yeah, that's definitely supposed to be like, if I drew a spaceship, you'd be like, yeah, that's a spaceship. But it wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be like the Warhammer 40k artists. We're like, oh yeah, that's a Dauntless Light Cruiser from Warhammer 40k and it looks really amazing. Like, no, I don't do art at that level. But, I can draw well enough that if I I did draw a Dauntless Cruiser, you'd probably be like, yeah, that's a Dauntless Cruiser. It looks like one. But anyway, I've never been professional, and I don't think that's really the point. Right now, AI is not even at a point where I would make the argument that profession is being talked about as a thing that will happen in the not too distant future, but it's not really a thing that's going on now, you know? And I'm hoping to be in that group of people who do become professionals eventually. I think so what if we use the readily available tools? That's just what it is. Like, at the end of the day, I've said this too, AI is not going to stick around because AI is not going to stick around in the art world. It's not going to stick around because it's easy. It's not going to stick around because certain people like it. It's not going to stick around. Well, I mean, certain people liking it is part of it, but the thing that's going to make it stick and will make it so it will never ever go away, the thing that makes it Pandora's box that you can never close again is, and here I am specifically talking about generative AI in use for art. I am not talking about AI generally. AI will stick around generally for very different reasons, and that has to go with corporations and governments and the things that they're doing. But art AI will stick around for the simple fact that you have given introverts without artistic talent, the power to create art out of their creative ideas without ever having to talk to another human being. The degree of power that is for an introvert is so great that they will never have to deal with that issue again, and AI will never go away because there will never not be an audience of people willing to do it. Pandora's box is open. It will never close. You can join them, or you can drown as you fight them. That's basically all there is. We make something from our hearts is also really important. I'm sorry, I'm pausing a lot, but this is what I do. We make something from our hearts is important. Why is it important? It's important because, well, this is one of the big things against what people say, like, AI isn't creative. Like, well, yeah, of course it's not. I'm creative. I came up with the idea. You know, maybe I'll do a segment where I react to some archive in between shorts. I would love to show you guys the archive in between because it's such a crazy out there, like, I don't know that you could have made something like this before AI came out without you'd have to have an entire film studio behind you to make some of the stuff they make. And I mean, it's AI, it has its jank, but at the end of the day, the world they're building and showing you is incredible. This, I think they call it like the Great Structure or something. It's basically their name for the multiverse. In their universe, the multiverse isn't something you travel through with ships most of the time. There are beings that have ships that travel through space between different worlds and universes in the multiverse, but most people move between universes by finding a portal somewhere on their universe that leads to another universe. And the way the world built itself around that idea is so cool to watch because you don't see like a Star Wars sci-fi. Just like they have a zone called the Patchwork City that I would say in a lot of ways is very similar to Coruscant from Star Wars, but the vibe is so completely different. It doesn't feel like a sci-fi hyper advanced Star Wars city. It feels like a more advanced than ours, somewhat magical, looks like there might be a little Cthulhu mythos going on in there sort of place. And it's just crazy. Like there's whole segments of the Patchwork City that are like underwater zones where aquatic beings live. And that didn't come from some AI coming up with that. Somebody with a great deal of creativity and imagination came up with this idea and put it out into the world. Like, how are you going to look at that and tell a person that he's not creative just because he used AI to generate the images to represent his idea? Because that's all it really is. Like, if you want to make an argument about how AI does that, I'm way more willing to listen to that. But when you tell me that AI isn't creative, you're just wrong. AI itself as a tool is not creative. You're correct about that. But using AI bereaves you of all creativity is just wrong.
Don't be loud, just be part of the crowd. If you have nothing to add, leave the comments clear for those who aren't mad.
And I'll just briefly say again, let the mad people leave their comments. That is literal engagement that will boost you in the algorithm. Just let them have it. You literally get more from them by letting them comment than by getting upset about the comment. That's like my main critique of this sentiment is let the mad people comment. It will actually help you to let the mad people comment.
I don't need your apologies, I really don't care. These are just pointless arguments, but a good waste of time.
That's true too, because you'll find there's a lot of antis out there, but there's also a lot of people who will embrace you. There's people who are neutral on the subject and they'll love you no matter what. And there's people who are, and even, I'll even go so far, like, I don't have any inkling of an idea that my brother doesn't love me just because I use AI. He did not stop being my brother. He did not stop caring about me, even though him and I vehemently disagree on this issue. So at the end of the day, like, we still matter to each other despite our disagreements. And that's something that's really important when you're dealing with this and you're dealing with a crowd. A lot of the people who are making these angry comments, they're not like your friends or people who've been around for a while. They're not like longtime viewers or anything like that. So, like, do they really matter? Like, should you dedicate any amount of your RAM in your brain to giving a about what they have to say? My opinion is no, you shouldn't. Let them leave their comments because it gives you more engagement, but like, you don't have to give a what they say. It does not matter. The people who do matter are going to be the people who would still be your friend, still stand by you. I have another friend of mine too, who also, he continues to be my friend and continues to want to hang out with me, despite also being very vehemently against AI. And, you know, when I won an honorable mention in the Leaflet AI contest for the Lyrian Chronicle video I made, Last Will and Testament. Yeah, that was a placement that came with a cash prize, and I was excited to receive the cash prize, but I was also excited to place at all. Like, I just didn't think I was up to snuff for that. And I remember my brother and my friend, both of whom, I want to reiterate, hate AI. They genuinely hate AI. They believe it is like not a box that should have ever been opened, and that we should do everything in our power to return it to its place in Pandora's box and never touch it again. That being said, they still congratulated me and they still appreciated what I accomplished, even though they hate AI, because they still care about me. And those people will always matter, even if they disagree with you.
What you don't seem to get is that you don't matter to me. The people that do are those with the heart, the ones who don't care if we use AI, as long as you keep one thing in mind.
I do want to say, not all the angry people don't have a heart. And again, this is probably me coming from my own experience with my brother and my friend. But a lot of people, some people are literally just like, as Leaflet likes to mention, they're zombies. They don't have knowledge. They don't understand. They don't spend a lot of time in higher thinking, and they're just easily convinced of whatever people are saying. And so the people that they listen to and watch are all telling them AI bad. So they're like, oh, AI must be bad. And that's the extent of their thought on the subject. It's not that those people don't have hearts, but a lot of them are convinced that a great evil has come upon us and we must remove it. It's less that they don't have hearts, and it's more that they don't really have, I want to say don't have minds. They have minds, but they don't think. They don't spend time thinking. They don't think about thinking. They don't spend time in the higher levels of thinking. They might be capable of it. They just don't spend any time there, and they don't consider that point of view when they say something.
It's a tool, not a toy. So
that's very true too. He says, keep one thing in mind, it's a tool, not a toy. He's right. It's a tool, not a toy. And it is being used for a lot of things. AI as a big general overview umbrella. The vast majority of what AI is being used to do right now is not great. I will openly admit that, by the way. I actually agree that the majority of AI use right now is not good. But I think at the end of the day, like, there are so much more bigger fish to fry than generative art. Why are we having this argument? This should not even matter to you. The only generative art thing that should matter to you from the point of view of AI is how good AI is getting at making very realistic deepfakes. That's a problem. That is a problem. Why are we not going after that? You got to pick a target that matters to attack, man. Like this guy's little looping AI video or his fun little Mavericks Detected video. That is not worth the time, effort, or energy to attack, even if you are an anti-AI person. That's just some goofball shit. You need to be attacking the actual problem. You need to be attacking the people creating deepfakes. You need to be attacking the people using AI to create flock cameras. You need to be attacking people using AI to generate methods of forcing identification on the internet, etc., etc. These are the things that need to get fought, not this guy's fun little AI animation. But these people, I think, oftentimes don't believe that their words mean anything in those arguments. Like they don't think that they can do anything. So instead they pick on someone small because they think they can do something. They can bully this guy off the internet. They can't convince Flock to stop making making cameras, though. You know what I mean? Like, well, you could if all 10,000 of you showed up. Maybe you could, but instead you don't coordinate and you attack smaller creators instead, which is just ridiculous. It's crab in the bucket mentality.
Sit back, shut up, and enjoy. So what if we ain't professional? So what if we used a readily available tool? We made something from our hearts. We won't be sorry for you if you don't have one. Maybe you should chill out. Don't be loud. Just be part of the crowd if you have nothing to add.
I would also make note that saying chill out, don't be loud, just be part of the crowd could be taken as telling someone they shouldn't voice their opinion, which I would generally be against that sentiment. I'm very certain that is not the actual meaning you have behind this. Your meaning is probably more from just like, if you don't understand what you're complaining about, kindly shut up until you do. But I could see that wording being taken as just, you don't deserve to give an opinion and your opinion is trash. Like, you can say an opinion is trash, but saying that someone shouldn't voice their opinion is generally looked down upon. Though I will say there's a lot of parrot opinion out there, as in like just parroted stuff that nobody has thought for even 10 seconds about. They just repeated it. And of course that would just get super annoying to see over and over and over again. So I completely understand where you're coming from. I just, I would be careful with wording things that way. Don't give opponents and enemies a chink in the armor they can stick a crowbar in and try to make you look worse than you are.
Leave the comments clear for those who aren't mad. I hope you get the point. I hope I made it clear. If you have nothing to say, get out of here, because what you don't see is the work behind the scenes.
This is another one that bugs me a lot, is people, they act like the work of making an AI. You know what? I'll briefly break it down just so people understand what workflow actually looks like. People think that to make an AI video like Mavericks Detected, so many people are of the opinion that you basically just give a brief idea of what you're looking to make and then just say, make this, and the AI makes it. That is not how AI works. So people would say like, make a Mega Man style animated video that's roughly this long and stars a penguin character and these VTubers fighting against a bunch of Mavericks that are designed to look like left-wing political pundits. Bam, you get Mavericks Detected, and that was the entirety of your prompt. People think it works that simply. It does not. So I'll break down what doing something like that works for as workflow is. First of all, you, the individual, the human being, you have to come up with an idea of something you want to make. And then what you have to do is you go, all right, what characters and locations are going to populate this idea? And for each and every one of those characters, you need to go into an AI and make a concept image. And you want to try to keep that concept image relatively simplistic, so it doesn't have too many bits and pieces and bobs on it, because then it becomes, in future image creation, it becomes harder to keep all those details together. So you create concept images for each of your characters and a concept image for each location that your video will take place in. So for example, Mavericks Detected, you have the Hunter's headquarters, you have the street where the fight's taking place, you have the green grassy knoll hill at the end, you have Hasigma's tower, you have the helipad on the outside of Hasigma's tower. All of those are locations that you will have to create concept images for. Once you've created all your concept images, you plug in each of your character concepts and you create a character sheet that gives a three-dimensional breakdown of what the character looks like from multiple angles. Then you take your character sheets and your location images and you use another AI to create what's the word I'm looking for? Storyboard. So you create a storyboard, and that storyboard will be anywhere from like 8 to 16 panels, something like that. That gives you a clear idea of everything that's happening. Then you take the storyboard and you put that into another AI like Claude or ChatGPT. Take that image and you tell them to give a breakdown of that image as a like descriptor, where it explains what's happening in each. You're basically reverse engineering a prompt from the image. Then you take that prompt, you put it into you put it into your main AI, and then you go through everything about that prompt and you start moving and changing anything that isn't where you want it to be. So even when you go to the AI and you say, make this prompt, the AI will not get everything right. You will almost definitely have to go into the prompt and make minor changes here and there, and occasionally major changes because it didn't get it right and you need to write what was wrong. Then you're going to probably do multiple video iterations off of that singular descriptor. And so when you're creating the actual animated video, you're going to put that long descriptor that I just described into the prompt engine. Then you're also going to put each character that appears throughout that sequence, as well as each location that's going to appear throughout that sequence, and the storyboard, all in there as images. And it needs all of that once you've made all of that all together, and then you generate the video. And then the video will probably not be correct the first time. And then you have to reverse engineer what went wrong, what wording or statement did you make in the prompt that changed what's going on here. And you may go through 10, 11, 12 iterations before you figure out, that's where my problem was, and you change the prompt so that actual the new video will now be what you were looking for. That's how I do it anyway. But the thing is, like, that's a lot of work. That process I just explained to you takes like 6 to 8 hours to do. So when people tell you that you're not making effort, that's just utterly retarded. It is not at all in sync with reality. Just because I can do in 8 hours what used to take weeks or months to do does not mean I'm not working. That 8 hours is work. It's not happy-go-lucky, ha ha ha, I didn't prompt up a 7-minute video in, 20 minutes. It doesn't work that way.
The AI does what we ask, so keep your opinions to yourself, because they don't matter to anyone else. Thank you for the entertainment, though. I don't appreciate your opinion, but at least you gave me something to do with my time.
Yep, there it is. We don't care. That's a good 45-minute run. That was really, really good. I definitely identify with a lot of the struggles that were portrayed in that video, in that song. I also see a lot of the antis and their arguments. I completely understand, like, the frustration with trying to explain things to them. Like, I talked about my brother in this video. I've tried to explain to him why this isn't a matter of non-creativity. I've also tried to explain to him how I'm still the creator, even if I didn't individually draw each thing. And he won't hear it. It's like he's just blocked up his ears to any argument to that. And it's kind of like, he just responds with, yeah, but you didn't make the art. You understand that, right? Yeah, but you didn't make it. You understand that, right? And it is very frustrating. At this point, it's like, you're allowed to believe whatever you want, man. And so this is the same brother who still cares about me. He still congratulated me for winning the contest. He still cares about making sure that I'm okay. He still makes videos with me, as long as I don't use AI in those videos. But, he still cares about me, even though we vehemently disagree on that subject. But this video is pretty good. As Penguin stated, it's just a looping GIF, basically. So it's very simplistic from the video sound of it. It's much more important, the lyrics about it. And this was probably the calmest I've ever seen frustration take form. The calmest form I've ever seen frustration take. Like, the voice was so smooth and just like it sounds more tired than angry, which I guess is accurate for frustration. It's like a combination of being tired and angry at the same time. But despite your misgivings, Penguin, I think this was pretty good. I do see where this is mostly the work of Phoenix, I'd wager. So I'm guessing, my guess would be that the vocals and music are all from Suno, and that Phoenix wrote the lyrics and then put it through Suno, got a voice for singing in Suno, got music put together, lyrics by me, song made by Suno, made using Suno, yeah. So I guess he put his stuff into Suno, created the music. I still have to figure out how to use Suno. And then Penguin just kind of created a looping background image to use for the backdrop. And then, of course, they included Astronomical and Grumpy Whiskers in the band, because these two were very supportive in the comments. Mavericks Detected. So Phoenix, you got a good head on you. I think you've done a good job writing these lyrics. There's a few places where the lyrics don't really rhyme, and I'm not sure if they perfectly make musical sense in a couple of places, but I'm gonna guess that you are not a particularly musically inclined individual. So as a fellow not musically inclined individual, I'm also also willing to bet my first song would not come out this good either. So maybe one day I'll do that and we'll see. But I do think overall this is good. I like the attitude of I'm going to do what I'm going to do regardless, and your opinion doesn't matter. That is a better spot to be in than some of this other stuff I see where people just get rage baited right back into what's going on. This is a much healthier take where it's, I care about the people who care about me. I care about the hearts and the love. I don't really care about the hate because it's not going to prevent me from making something. You have no actual power to stop me. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And that's just a healthier way to take this. So I think you guys are doing a good job. This is more Phoenix than it is Penguin. So that's why it's on Phoenix's channel. So Phoenix is the primary creator on this. And I think he did a really good job. I think he definitely, like, he leapt to his own defense and the defense of his friend. And that's something we like to see. So I wish you guys the best. I'm still very excited to see where your Maverick Hunter journey goes in the Mavericks Detected universe. And I hope maybe we'll see some more stuff from you as well, Phoenix. Some more stuff that's like more you. And I don't know what amount of creative impetus you take on the Maverick Detected universe videos. So I imagine you do have a part of it. Maybe you work on the lyrics for the songs. That would make sense because you did the lyrics for this one too. I think Penguin said that you did the lyrics before as well. So I am excited to see where you guys go with that. So I had a good time watching this. It was honestly, it's a really chill song. Despite the content, it's a very chill song. So it was a really nice little song to listen to, and I identify with a lot of the frustration and points that were made during the song. So I wish you guys the best. I will keep watching your career with great interest, and when the next Maverick video drops, you can be sure I'll be there to make a reaction to it. So I think that's all I have to say on this, my curious scholars. Until next time, bye bye.